Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive.
Hey there.
Today, we're jumping into a very specific and pretty blunt conversation that was captured online. It's about dating dynamics.
Right, and specifically focusing on advice aimed at single black women who are attracted to black men.
Exactly. And the material we're diving into, it's a transcript, right, from a YouTube video.
Yeah, that's it. It's got this dating coach sharing some, let's say, direct thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's commentary reacting to his message. And it also includes a look at what people were actually saying in the comment section of that video.
Okay. So our mission here really is just to go through this specific stuff, pull out the coach's main points.
See how the commentary, the reactions presented in the video, how they kind of interact with those points.
And just lay out the different viewpoints, the key ideas that are in this material. We're not, taking sides or saying who's right.
No, definitely not. The goal is just to help you see and understand the conversation as it appeared in these sources. Get a clear picture of the ideas being thrown around.
Think of it like exploring a little corner of this online discussion together.
Exactly. Guided by what was actually in that video.
So this dating coach,
Huh.
he starts off pretty strong, doesn't he? Makes a big statement.
Oh, yeah. He addresses single black, straight women attracted to black men right up front. And the line is, a lot of y'all going to die alone if you don't change your approach today.
Wow, okay.
Oh.
That's designed to grab your attention.
Definitely. Not subtle.
And what's his justification for saying something that intense?
Well, he claims it's based on his experience.
Yeah.
Says it's from like 15 to 16 years working with and supporting black women.
Okay.
He even mentions having lived in almost every corner of the earth and seeing what he calls a common theme. Basically, what separates women who stay single from those who find partners, in his view.
Right. So he's framing it as insights from a lot of observation, a lot of experience. What are the actual changes he recommends? Like, what approach does he say needs adjusting?
He hits on a few key areas, things, often come up in dating talk. First one is physical requirements.
Uh-huh.
He tells women straight up, let go of the idea that the man needs to be above 6 foot.
Ah, the classic height debate. Okay. What else on the physical side?
He also advises moving away from needing the man to be at a high level of attractiveness, or even specifically, as attractive as you.
And he has a reason for that.
Yeah, he makes this point that in many happy relationships he's seen, the man is actually not as attractive as them.
Interesting. And he uses that prize language.
He does. Says the woman is the prize and should be okay, quote, looking like his trophy. That's the specific perspective presented there.
Okay. It's a particular way to frame it. He's suggesting focusing too much on looks might be limiting.
That seems to be the gist of it, yeah. Based on his observations, that focusing only on that top-tier attractiveness might narrow the field too much.
Got it. So physical stuff is one piece. What about money, finances? That's always a factor in these discussions.
Absolutely. And he brings it up. He suggests women need to accept that a potential partner may not earn as much money as them.
Okay, and does he give a reason for that specific piece of advice?
He does. He cites statistics, his word, claiming that black women are out-earning everybody. Now, we should note, the commentator later questions this specific statistic.
Right, we'll get to that. But his logic, based on that claim, is what?
His point seems to be, if black women are earning at these higher levels, then the number of men earning at or above that same level is just, well, statistically smaller.
Which means more competition for that specific group of men.
Exactly. That's the argument he makes. He's careful to say he doesn't mean date someone struggling, but maybe be realistic about matching or exceeding income levels.
Okay, that follows. If you accept the initial premise about earnings, what's the last big suggestion he makes?
The last piece is about expanding the dating pool itself. He suggests opening their minds to dating outside of black men.
Ah, and his reasoning there.
He points out that, in his view, black men have opened their options already. Says you see them getting married and being in relationships with women from different backgrounds.
So kind of a what's good for the goose argument, maybe, suggesting women could do the same.
Sort of. He does clarify, though. Says it's not about abandoning dating black men.
Right.
It's more that partnership may come in a form that may be different than what you expected. So broadening the search might lead to finding someone.
Okay, so let's recap the coach's message just based on the source. Adjust expectations, height, looks, income, and think about widening the dating pool. And it's all wrapped in this very strong warning about potentially dying alone if you don't adapt.
That's the core of it. Now, how did this land? According to the video source, Let's look at the video presenter's commentary first.
Right, what was their take?
Well, first off, the presenter says these ideas aren't exactly brand new, calls them all things we've heard before.
So, familiar themes. Okay. Did the presenter agree with the points about, say, height and looks?
Seem to, yeah. Largely on board with letting go of these strict height things, 6 foot cool, that makes sense. And also questioning the focus on super attractive men. Where are you looking for these pretty boys?
And the presenter added something else, didn't they? About some women being masculine.
Yes, exactly. The presenter brought that in, suggesting some women have become, their words, so masculine. They want to be the one, like getting the bad bee and carrying the man like a trophy. Contrasting that with the idea that the woman should be the trophy, by in shape looking good, as the presenter put it.
That's an interesting interpretation added by the presenter in the source. Okay, back to the coach's claim about earnings, that statistic. Did the presenter buy that one?
No, that's where the presenter pushed back directly, stated that not on average, black women are not out earning black men.
Okay.
Though they did add it's getting close. So right there in the source, you see a direct disagreement on a key factual premise the coach used.
Yeah, that's a pretty big challenge. And the presenter also made a really interesting point about how the message was received, right? Compared it to someone else famous for similar advice.
Right. This is the Kevin Samuels comparison. The presenter points out what they see as kind of an irony. That, according to the source's presenter, Kevin Samuels delivered a similar message and got absolutely hammered for it, called the devil. But when this coach, who is gay, delivers it, some of the comments highlighted by the presenter are like, a beautiful message said with kindness and love.
Wow. So the source itself, through the presenter, is raising that question. Does the messenger change how the message is heard?
Exactly. It really makes you consider that factor based on what's presented.
Okay, so that's the commentary layer. Now let's dig into the comment section reactions again, as presented in the video source. What was the vibe there?
Well, the video creator showed a mix, but definitely highlighted quite a few comments that were positive or seemed to agree with the coach.
Like what? Any examples?
Yeah, one top comment mentioned was, I love this post, no settling but thinking outside the box being open.
Okay, that's pretty clear agreement.
Others included things like, I approve the message here, and that quote again, this was a beautiful message, said with kindness and love, man, and also a more pragmatic one. Life's not a fairy tale, stay realistic, girls.
So definitely some validation for the coach's points shown in those comments. Was there specific support for the idea of dating outside your race?
Yes, the source included comments on that too. One quote was, black women need to open their options and date out. Everyone should go where they are appreciated.
Makes sense.
And another shared a personal story, a positive one, about dating a white man for the first time. Mentioned how he admired my looks, his attractiveness, and was so respectful.
So those comments really echo one of the coach's key recommendations. But it wasn't all agreement, right? The source showed some pushback, like from someone named Kendra G.
Correct. Kendra G's comment was included. She said something like, I approve the message, but let's stop the scary tactic of dying alone.
So she agreed with parts, but not the main framing.
Exactly. She didn't like the implication that being without a romantic partner automatically means you'll die alone.
And she used a personal example, didn't she?
Yes, her mother. Said her mom wasn't married, but died with her 3 daughters, right there in the hospital. Her point was you're not necessarily alone just because you don't have a spouse.
Right.
She agreed with dropping like superficial requests in dating, but strongly added that if a woman is happy without a man, that is okay too.
So Kendra G, as presented, is challenging the whole definition of dying alone and championing female independence or fulfillment outside of romance. How did the video presenter react to her comment?
The presenter interpreted her response as, well, emotional, suggested she was kind of missing the coach's specific point. Meaning the presenter argued the coach was talking about dying alone in the context of romantic partnership or marriage specifically, not literally dying physically alone.
Okay, drawing a distinction between dying with family versus dying with a spouse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The presenter even mentioned their own experience working with elderly people to back up that difference, and then connected Kendra G's reaction, what the presenter saw as an inability to accept that context, to potential relationship issues, saying they could see her not getting along with the man in a relationship.
Wow. So the source shows a debate happening even within the commentary about what dying alone even means in this context. Were there other comments shown that pushed back, other viewpoints?
Oh, yeah. There was a really strong one presented that just flat out rejected the whole premise that Black women need this advice because they're supposedly not doing well.
What did that one say?
It was something like, "We do not care. Many of us have already had children, have grandchildren. We have wonderful, lucrative careers because our education, we travel, we volunteer. We have a whole community around us. We're not alone or lonely.
That's a powerful statement.
There's so much need for us. We're not going to be stressed out
Yeah.
by no man. Black women are doing just fine." It paints a very different picture.
Absolutely. A picture full of family, community, career, purpose. A direct counter-narrative to the coach's opening as presented in the source.
And one more short comment included was just, "Nothing wrong with being alone."
Simple, direct. A statement of self-sufficiency or acceptance standing against that urgency from the coach. Okay. So let's try and synthesize all this just from what we've seen in this source material.
Okay, so we started with a dating coach offering some pretty blunt, action-focused advice.
Right. The core suggestions being adjust expectations around a partner's height, their level of attractiveness, their income.
And be open to dating outside your race. Those were the key recommendations based on his stated experiences.
And then the source shows us the reactions. We see commentary and comments ranging from strong agreement, people appreciating the directness,
All the way to really significant pushback, especially on that core framing, that warning about dying alone.
Yeah, and that pushback brought up totally different ideas about what it means to be alone or what fulfillment looks like, emphasizing family, community, personal success, like in Kendra G's comment and that other one about Black women doing fine.
And the source also highlighted that whole question about the messenger mattering, right? That comparison between this coach and Kevin Samuels, raised by the video presenter.
Definitely. So ultimately, this deep dive into just this one slice of online content, it shows a really complex conversation.
Yeah, you've got these specific, practical dating suggestions on one side.
And on the other, you have responses challenging the basic assumptions, the definitions, the urgency of that advice. It really lays bare conflicting views on relationships, happiness, what alone means, what doing fine means.
It shows these conversations aren't just, simple dating tips. They hit on really deep stuff about values, community, success.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the specific source material. We've looked at the coach's advice, the commentary, the range of reactions presented.
And again, our goal was just to lay out what was in these sources, show you the different ideas and how people were engaging with them.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. And maybe just a final thought for you to consider, something pulling from all those different viewpoints we saw in the source. When you think about advice on relationships, on happiness, how do you personally weigh those practical suggestions, like adjusting expectations against things like emotional fulfillment, your community ties, your individual sense of purpose? What does partnership, or maybe not being alone, really mean to you?